Well, things I saw when I was in the Air Force were no more than lights. But when I got out of the Air Force, I remember seeing. I was out on a date with a girl, and it was on a Sunday afternoon when we got to the beach. It was a beach on the East Coast near Cape Canaveral, and we had gotten to the beach, and we got out and we went up over sand dunes and down onto the beach, and she and I had turned and started walking west, and there was, I guess, 200 or 300 people there on that little stretch of beach, and all of a sudden it got quiet, and she and I turned around, and everybody was standing there looking up, and we looked up, and there was this thing, I'd say about 400 or 500 feet in the air. This thing reminded me of like a steel ball.
Okay.
Because it was real shiny. Mm-hmm. And it had two rings, one horizontal and the other vertical, that run around it, and they were a fuzzy yellowish green.
Huh.
And these things, they pulsated.
Right. And the rings did. The rings did, right? Is that what you're saying?
The rings, it looked like they would expand a little and then contract. And this thing was just hanging there. It wasn't wobbling or moving at all. And everybody stood there. We stood there a good 2-3 minutes looking at it. And the thing finally started rising real slow. And within a matter of less than 3 or 4 seconds, that thing shot straight out of sight, straight up.
Wow.
And funny thing of it is, everybody on that beach all of a sudden picked up and packed up their stuff, not saying a word, just walked up over the dunes, out to the cars in the parking lot, got in the cars, and started going home.
And
I never saw anything in the paper about it.
And did the people seem alarmed at all, or?
No, it was all real calm.
Huh.
There was no screaming or hollering or nothing.
Wow, and I mean,
it was like everybody was mesmerized.
Right, that's strange. Yeah, that.
Well, my thing is, I don't know, at the time that I saw it, I wasn't panicky or anything. I guess in my mind I was trying to figure out what I was looking at.
Sure, absolutely.
Because at that time I was working out on the Cape, and the girl I was with when we were on our way back into town, she said, "What was that?" And I said, "I have no idea."
Wow. And what year and location did you see this again?
This was about 1964.
Okay.
And like I said, I read the newspapers and watched local TV stations and everything for about a week or two. There was never a word printed or a word reported on it.
Wow. Yeah, and that's not uncommon either, because we get a lot of sightings where people just don't report them.
Yeah, well, that had happened for, I don't know, it just seemed like all of us didn't say anything about it.
Huh.
She asked me, she, at the time, she said, "You think it's one of them things they call UFOs?" And I said, "Well, it wasn't flying." I said, "It was just hanging there."
Yeah.
I said, "It didn't make any noise. It was just hanging there, and all of a sudden something pulled it straight out of sight, straight up."
Wow. Wow.
And I know good and well it wasn't a reflection because of the position of the sun.
Sure.
And what I saw there.
Yeah, and you were able to pick out some pretty good details. I mean, obviously it wasn't the sun or anything like that.
You seen those round steel and I don't know what they're like marbles, but they're
bearings, like a steel
bearing,
bearing. Yeah,
like a steel bearing. And I thought I could see through the thing when I was first looking at it, but it wasn't that I could see blue sky through the two rings. It was the surface of this thing was so reflective, it was reflecting the blue sky off of the surface.
Right.
And on the bottom side, you could tell it was like a steel bearing.
Wow. And how big do you think it was? Can you
Well, at the...
I mean, was it like at arm's length? If you were to hold out a known object like a quarter or a tennis ball or something, and how big was it compared to if you were to hold it
at arm's length?
Yeah.
That would have been about, I'd say about the size of a tennis ball.
Okay.
And this thing was, I'd venture to say the thing wasn't over 1,500 feet up in the air.
Okay.
And it was at an angle.
Right. And I'm sorry, I cut you off before, but where did you say you saw this? What beach was that?
It was just a little, I think it was an inlet, more or less, it wasn't a beach actually, it was an inland waterway that had a little beachfront on it. So, I think it's what they call the Indian River or Banana River.
Okay.
And it was just north of the Cape.
Okay, and the Cape is, are you talking about the east coast of Florida Cape, or?
Yeah, they used to call it Cape Canaveral.
Okay, yeah. And I guess the weather was normal and nothing?
Yeah, there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and it was nice and sunny and warm.
Yeah, and what time do you think it was during the day?
This was around, I'd say, 1 o'clock or shortly after in the afternoon.
Okay. And do you know if any of the other witnesses are still around or contactable about the event?
Oh, Lord. I'm sure they're still around or scattered because, like I said, there was at least 200 or more people there on that little old beachfront strip of land.
Okay.
And when we first come over and down onto the beach area, there's just kids out there running and hollering, and they had these what they call boom boxes,
yeah,
and you could hear them going, but it got quiet. I mean, it got real quiet, and that's the reason we turned around. Everything went quiet all of a sudden.
And I mean, do you remember what the reaction of the people were? I mean, were they all standing very still, or were they reacting? Were they pointing at it? Were they doing anything like that?
No, it was just like I was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We were standing there just looking up at it.
Huh.
And nobody pointing or anything, just standing there looking. And when the thing finally disappeared, there wasn't a word said. I mean, it was just like watching a bunch of zombies walk up over the hill and out in the parking lot. Here, everybody got in their cars, started the car up, and left.
Wow.
Even that day, there was a vendor that had a little stand that they sold hamburgers and hot dogs and everything in the parking lot. And even that guy was packing up and closing down his little thing and hooking it up to haul it off.
Wow.
Even he left.
Unbelievable.
And I couldn't explain it to her because we just got there.
Yeah.
We turned around and left.
Wow.
So, I don't know. It was just one of the strangest things I've ever encountered in my life. This thing was close enough. If it had a conventional engine or something like that, you'd have heard it. But we didn't hear a thing.
Right.
The only thing I could distinguish was a slight breeze blowing up through the grass and this tall, like cattails and everything on the sand dunes.
Did
You hear that whipping through the grass and everything, and that's all you could hear.
Yeah, did anybody have like dogs with them out there or anything like that? Do you remember? Like playing frisbee?
I think there might have been one or two dogs, but I don't recall seeing the dogs running around during the time we were observing whatever it was.
Okay. And what about, obviously you're out near the water, and this is Florida being, did you notice any seagulls or any other wildlife flying around like they usually do?
No, well, that's the thing about it. That was the only thing in the sky
that
I noticed, because it was, I don't know, it was just like somebody had hung it there.